I'm Terry Owens. On this edition of MTA Commuter Connections, we'll visit Maryland's American Visionary Art Museum in Baltimore for a look at some of the unique and interesting exhibits on display. We'll also show you what the MTA is doing to better communicate with passengers, and we'll show you a different side of the police work being done by the MTA's finest. Plus, some of the real benefits of leaving the car behind and trying public transit. We've got all that and your questions on this edition of MTA Commuter Connections. Hello everybody and welcome to MTA Commuter Connections. For this edition, we're on location at one of Maryland's most unique and interesting places to visit. We're at the American Visionary Art Museum in downtown Baltimore, where all of the works of art are produced and created by self-taught artists. Nick Previs is the museum's communication and marketing manager, and he joins us with a look at this very special place. Hi Nick, welcome to Commuter Connections.
Terry. Welcome to the American Visionary Art Museum.
Thank you so much for inviting us in. So what was the vision behind the Visionary Arts Museum?
The American Visionary Art Museum was founded by our founder and director, Rebecca Hoffberger, who had a vision for a special museum that would showcase the work of artists that were making art from their own intuition and from the voice that they hear within. And so that's what you see before you.
How long have you guys been here now?
We are now 18 years old, this November actually, 18 years.
And having a location like this just off of the Inner Harbor near downtown Baltimore, how has that benefited you?
Well, it's been an amazing benefit for us because all of our out-of-town visitors usually come down to the Inner Harbor to see the best of Baltimore. And so we're a perfect spot because it's just a short walk from the Inner Harbor, the Science Center, the Aquarium, the Visitor Center, and of course, historic Fort McHenry and Federal Hill are right here. And yeah, it's just a fantastic location to be. We couldn't think of a better place to be.
What makes this place special to you?
To me, truthfully, Terry, it's the stories of the artists. I feel that, and I think a lot of visitors have a personal connection when they come here and they visit the museum. There's the stories that the artists of their lives and why they decided to start creating the artwork that they did. And that resonates with you, and it's something you never forget.
Why the focus on self-taught artists? Why was that important?
Well, our mission is to show artwork that was made based on intuition and kind of the tradition of art schools and the academic institutions of art. They have a place to show. There's many museums and galleries dedicated to those. But at the time when this museum opened, there wasn't really as many places in this country to see this kind of artwork. So it sort of fulfilled that need for those artists that were kind of on the outside of the regular industry.
So tell me about the space that we're standing in.
Sure, this is the Jim Rouse Visionary Center. It's our third building, and it is an enormous building filled with all kinds of sculptures and different displays that you see. And we even host wedding receptions here in this building too, along with some of our other buildings as well. This building was a historic building that was renovated here, and we have two other buildings as well that are filled to the brim with artwork. So
this is, the museum has had quite an evolution.
It has, yes. Since we opened, we've now expanded this to this space as well as doing some major community events that are free. Coming up in July this month, Flicks from the Hill, and also our kinetic sculpture race, which you can see some of the vehicles here. Fifi and our Frog participate in that every year in May.
Now, for people not familiar with Flicks from the Hill, tell us about that.
Flicks from the Hill is one of my favorite events in Baltimore, and it's constantly on the top list of best free things to do in the world. Basically, we show free movies Thursday nights starting in July through August. Every Thursday night, we show free movie on the Hill at 9 p.m. on Federal Hill right behind us. And our museum is actually open and free from 5 to 9 p.m. on those particular nights. So you can come see the artwork and the exhibitions for free between 5 and 9, and then catch a free movie at 9 p.m., bring a blanket and picnic and just enjoy it.
But you guys are also a nonprofit, so you've got to raise resources. How can the community support you?
That's true. We are a private nonprofit. Well, we are supported by generous donations, our memberships. If you enjoy the museum, you should become a member, and then you can come back free all year and help support what we do here. And then, of course, just if you like us, bring your friends and your family and any out-of-town visitors here to experience it as well. That's really the bare bones of it.
Now, you've got one of the best jobs I can imagine. You get to not only enjoy this space all the time, but you get to go out and talk about some of the great work that you're doing.
Sure, definitely. Yeah, I love it. It's absolutely fantastic. Couldn't be a better place for me.
So what are your hours of operation?
We are open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. We're closed just Mondays. Mondays we're closed, and a couple holidays, Christmas and Thanksgiving Day, we're closed. But throughout the rest of the year, we're open.
Now, there's somebody watching this show that's going to say, I've got some fantastic artwork. My work should be at the Visionary Museum. How does a person get their work here?
Well, we don't actually take submissions anymore, but what we have is for each of our exhibitions, they are always around a theme. And for that particular theme, our curators will go out and they'll seek out artwork and lenders who have particular pieces of art that fit in that theme. And that's how we find some of the amazing things. And most of the time we have a lot of never before seen artists in our shows, which is so exciting for us.
And the theme for July?
Well, July, currently we have our main exhibition on this year that goes through September, so all throughout the whole summer. It's called The Art of Storytelling, Lies, Enchantment, Humor, and Truth. And it takes you through a journey of storytelling and how different artists explore that in their work.
All right. Well, Nick Priebus, thank you so much for inviting us in and coming on to talk about the great work you're doing here. If somebody wanted to get more information about the museum, how would they find you?
Well, sure. You can find us online. It's www.avam.org, avam.org. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, every social media site you can find us. Just do a search. And even Fifi, our big pink poodle, has her own Facebook page, so you can become her friend too.
Yeah, and if you're looking for something to do on Thursday nights starting this month, come on down and check out Flicks on the Hill. It's a great outing.
Thank you. Thanks so much for being here.
We'll take a break here, but coming up next, how new technology is improving communication between the MTA and its customers. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment.
So, I just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
We hear it over and over again from MTA customers. If there's a problem with a service, just let us know. Communicate with us. Well, we heard you loud and clear. The MTA has just completed major upgrades to our communication capabilities at MARC Train, Light Rail, and Metro Subway. You may have noticed the new LED signs or heard the now clearly audible messages on the new public address system. The investments in the state-of-the-art technology represent a significant step forward for the MTA, and customers are noticing the difference.
I can see it here now, and I think it's a lot more clear instead of waiting around wondering which train is which.
Oh yes, it is, because once it's able to give one information for you to know when the train you're going to take is coming and when it's going to, at least to know the schedule. I think it's good. Yeah, it's progress.
And here to bring us up to date on the new PA LED system is Tammy Bolden, Manager of Systems and Equipment Engineering. Tammy, MTA is such a huge organization and there are all kinds of things going on that people don't necessarily see, but when you look at projects like this one, talk about why this was so significant.
Well, this one was really significant because the MTA was behind the times. And the one thing that we wanted to do was to make sure that we were compliant with the Americans with Disabilities Act, which basically means that whatever messages are being announced, you have to be able to display it as well, because you have to make sure that you're compliant with your visually and hearing impaired customers. So as you notice, looking at the light rail, the metro, and the MARC stations, you'll notice that any type of message that's being announced is also being displayed on the LED signs.
That had to be a huge investment for the organization.
It was, but it was necessary.
Yeah. We just heard from a couple of people who've seen the signs. They say it's making a difference for them. Talk about how long it's taken you to bring all of this online.
We've been working on this project probably for the last 6 years now. So what we tried to do was we tried to combine the projects all together by doing one specification for light rail, metro, and MARC. And then we found that was a little bit too much, so then we broke them out because we had to do the projects based on the funding levels for each of the modes. So about 6 years is how long we've been working on it.
Were you able to implement the new system all at once, or did you have to do one mode at a time?
We did one mode at a time.
Really?
Yeah, because you get things quick, you get things done a lot quicker that way. So we started off with the MARC, and then we came online with Metro. Actually, Metro is complete now, and now we're still working on light rail.
Okay, where was the biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge was really with light rail in the CBD area because of the communications, and we had to make sure that we had fiber connectivity in order for us to be able to have communication at the platform level.
What kind of information can people expect to see on these signs?
Basically, you get all of the service announcements such as disruptions in service, delays, Amber Alerts is a key. Also, if there's an elevator or escalator that's out of service, and of course for evacuation purposes.
Okay.
And coming up soon is we're going to be able to do next train arrival.
I was going to say, that is the thing that everybody is looking forward to, where you'll actually be able to look at one of those signs or on your cell phone get information about when that next vehicle is going to arrive. Talk about how that is changing public transit.
It's changing public transit in a huge way. You have other transit properties around the world that's already embraced this technology, so it's not new for us. So one of the biggest factors is a lot of customers, you know, sometimes you don't feel safe waiting in a metro subway station or waiting at a bus stop. So it makes you a little more, it gives you that warm and fuzzy feeling that, okay, this train is going to come at this time, so I don't have to wait out here that long.
Yeah, it's a tremendous tool for planning. You may be at work trying to get some last-minute stuff done, and you know exactly when that vehicle is going to arrive. So now, give us an idea of when we might see that next vehicle service arriving on the scene.
It should be here in March of 2014.
March of 2014,
Yes.
We'll be able to look at a cell phone and know when the next bus is going to arrive.
On the cell phones, on the MTA website, and on the LED signs.
Huge development, and we can't wait for it to get here.
Me neither.
Tammy, thank you so much for coming in.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, when it comes to police work, MTA officers not only protect and serve, they also actively engage the community. One of the ways they do that is through events like the Special Olympics.
It's not the kind of uniform you're accustomed to seeing MTA police officers wear.
All together, exercise!
But for the Special Olympics torch run, t-shirts and shorts make for the perfect outfit. Thanks to the support of agencies like the MTA, no state has more involvement in the Special Olympics Summer Games than Maryland.
The partnership that we have with law enforcement, specifically here at the MTA, is very powerful for our movement, beneficial for the athletes, the law enforcement officers involved. It's amazing to see and amazing to be part of.
This year, more than 24 MTA police officers would participate in the torch run, from the Reisterstown Metro Station to the MTA Police Department's Northern Division. While some participants would run the course, others supported the effort by walking.
We've actually done our own leg for the last 3, but we participated with other legs prior to. And it is, all of the participants are days off and they volunteer to come out and do it, and we really enjoy it.
The actual event has runners and walkers. We walk about 1.5 miles, run the same, and it's a good day, to come out and show support for Special Olympics.
Supporting efforts like the Special Olympics is the kind of police work that often goes unnoticed, says MTA Police Chief Colonel John Gavrilis. Nothing makes him more proud of his officers.
It does show that the officers do care and there's more to police work than just policing and arresting individuals. Much of police work is what you see is being done today is reaching out to the community that we serve.
And as much as they appreciate the support of volunteers like MTA police officers, organizers of the Special Olympics say more help is needed.
It does not end here. Summer Games is our biggest, it's our flagship event, I think might be the right word for it. But we do sports year-round. We have 3 sports seasons in Maryland. We offer 24 sports.
And if you would like to support the Maryland Special Olympics, they would love to hear from you. The number to call is 410-242-1515. Coming up next, a few good reasons to park your car and hop on board transit for your next commute. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment.
Really? Buzz, what's up, man? You left some leaves burning out here.
Yeah, I just came in just for a second.
Come on, man. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. You could torch the whole neighborhood.
It's a good point there, Smokey.
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
The Baltimore-Washington area is always cited as being one of the most difficult places in the country to commute by car. The wasted time, wasted gas, and added wear and tear to your automobile surely add up to a significant toll on you and your pocket. Transit is a better option, and MTA Senior Marketing Specialist Buddy Alves joins us with a few benefits to simply leaving the car at home and riding MTA bus, light rail, metro, subway, or commuter bus. Buddy, thanks so much for coming in.
It's a pleasure to be here.
You've got one of the best jobs at the MTA because you get to talk transit all the time and encourage people to consider it. What's the biggest obstacle most people face when they're thinking about transit?
Well, it's a big change for a lot of people. And that's one of the things that we try to do is to change human behavior and convince them through all the good benefits that transit has to offer that they should try it.
Well, right away, I would think you would have to look to cost savings. Is that where you start when you talk about the benefits of transit?
You would be surprised how many people don't think about that. But you're right. That's what we try to push, is that there is an enormous amount of cost savings for them if they get out of the car. For example, AAA tells us that this year, every mile that someone drives their car costs 61 cents a mile. And when you add that up on your commute, it could add up to thousands of dollars a year. So you should think about that before you get it behind the wheel again.
Well, you know, the biggest complaint that you hear from most people, I would imagine, is that they just like the convenience of being able to drive themselves. How do you work around that?
Well, I've been trying to do that for 20 years, and we've made great inroads. We have found ways to convince people that there are alternate options for them. And some of them, of course, are carpooling or vanpooling, but in particular, we want to talk about all of the transit that we have in the Baltimore metropolitan area and throughout the state that is at their disposal whenever they need it.
We see certain modes where ridership is definitely on the rise. You talk about Mark service. They just hit another record for 1 month single-day ridership, and those numbers are going up. But working across other modes like a local bus or a light rail, what are some of the advantages there that people might not think about?
Well, one of the things, once they're on board, they'd be able to relax. They can take a nap. They can read. They can meet new friends. all of which I've done in the 18 years that I've ridden on light rail.
Light rail, just one of the modes. Metro subway, when people, you're talking about time in your day. What most folks don't know is Metro subway's got an on-time performance rate of in the high 90s in terms of percentage.
Yeah, if you're living out, let's say in the Owings Mills area and you want to get downtown, there's only one way to do it, and that's on our rapid transit system, Metro subway. I think it takes around 20 minutes to 25 minutes to get downtown.
And then you think about the cost of parking. That's also got to be an issue.
It's a big issue. If you have tolls to deal with as you're coming downtown, you've got to consider that. And what about gas and tires and depreciation and mileage and maintenance and insurance, all the hidden costs of operating your vehicle? They're all left behind. For example, with me, I drove a car for 14 years because I took light rail. And I finally sold it with 65,000 miles on it.
Wow.
I didn't have to buy one or two other cars, which would have put thousands and thousands of dollars out of my wallet.
And you said you're now filling up instead of once a week like most folks?
Some people fill up twice a week. I fill up every 2 to 3 weeks. Okay. I was also able to buy my dream car. And I got it at a savings because I saved my transit savings into mutual funds and draw from it regularly to do things that I'd like to do.
And there are all kinds of programs out there that speak to specific needs. I know some people worry about getting to work and not being able to get home in the case of an emergency. We've got a program that speaks directly to that.
We do. And that program is called Guaranteed Ride Home. And the way it works is you call up a number, and that number happens to be 1-800-745-RIDE, or you go on commuterconnections.org, sign up, it's all free. And what it does, if you take transit at least twice a week, you'll get to have free rides home, either in a taxi, in a rental car, or on some other kind of transportation, no cost to you, 4 times a year.
Wow. Commuter Choice is another program that I suspect not enough, despite all of our efforts to try and get the word out, probably not enough people know about it.
Yes, we have had a great run with it, and it continues to grow, but a little slower than we'd like. Commuter Choice Maryland allows people, through their employer, to ride on our transit service for less than full fare. So let's think about that for a minute. They're going to save all those thousands of dollars by not driving. And then in addition, the MTA is going to allow them to ride in our service for less than full fare. You can't beat it.
And it's just getting the word out to let people know about the tremendous opportunities that are available to not only save money, but to also reduce the wear and tear on your vehicle, and also reduce the stress on yourself. I tell you, I'm on commuter bus, and there's nothing like hopping on that bus and riding into downtown and getting off right across the street from my office and going inside.
Yes. Now, there's something else that we haven't talked about yet, and it's very important today in this era of jobs being lost and finding new jobs. If you don't have a way to get to these jobs, you do with the MTA. We go practically everywhere on light rail, Metro subway, local bus, commuter bus, express bus, MARC train, mobility. We'll get you there. You just have to get on it and we'll take you.
What's the best way to get information on all these programs, buddy?
Well, I would say to go on mta.maryland.gov, that's our website, and you can check out all these. You can go on our Facebook account. You can go on our Twitter account and check out information that's coming out all the time from the MTA.
Okay, that's Buddy Alves, and I assure you he's got one of the best jobs at the MTA. Up next, we'll try and answer some of your transit questions and concerns. Stay with us. We're back right after this.
Explore new worlds. Read. Visit literacy.gov and let the journey begin.
I'm Vern Hartsock, Deputy Director of MTA's Engineering Division. Here's our first Ask the MTA question.
My name is Lindsay. I'm from Baltimore, and my question for the MTA is, could you provide a quiet car?
We're actually limited in terms of the number of light rail cars that we have that operate in what's called a consist, which at times is only 1 or 2 cars. This limits us from being able to dedicate 1 car to such an exclusive purpose. Now, our next question.
Hi, my name is Ross. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. My question would be, once I purchase the card, what do I do with it after that? Maybe you could provide signage as to what to do with the card. There's no place to swipe it or anything like that.
That's a good question. In fact, I've passed that along to our Engineering Signage Committee to identify some potential solutions. In the meantime, be aware that our ticket vending machines provide a notice that tells patrons to have their fare card ready to show to fare inspectors upon boarding. Now, our next question.
My name is Brian Wise. I'm from York, Pennsylvania. Commute to Hopkins every day. Worst part of my commute is getting off at the Cultural Center, station of the light rail, and trying to get to the State Center for the Metro, because there's not a real good, easy way to cross the street. It's kind of dangerous. It'd be great if that was something we could do to cross Howard Street more safely.
Safety is among our top priorities. The intersection in question contains a fully signalized crosswalk. However, the MTA and Baltimore City together have looked at the profile of pedestrian movement and traffic movement in that area, but we've been unable to identify any improvements to make. There is another option, however. Patrons can cross successfully between light rail and metro at the respective Lexington Market stations, which are just a few stops south of Cultural Center. Now, our next question.
My name is Dante Jones, and I was wondering if the MTA can make the seats a little bigger.
When we design the passenger area of a vehicle, we have constraints which include the size of the vehicle and the amount of service that it has to provide. What we do is called an ergonomic analysis, which takes into account many factors that determine the size of the seat, which include safety as well as comfort factors. We appreciate your questions. If you have a question you'd like to ask the MTA, visit the MTA website at mta.maryland.gov for a convenient TV show link, or connect with us on Facebook or Twitter.
We'd like to thank all of our guests and, of course, thank you for joining us here on MTA Commuter Connections. We'll see you next time. I'm Terry Owens.